Fingers crossed, let's see. Hey, that was pretty easy. What is up, everybody? My name is Dane Thompson, and welcome back to another episode of Burndown. Well, today is the day. We've all been waiting for it. I've actually been waiting for it. I don't know if you've been waiting for it or not, but I'm going to start on the Holley Terminator X ECU install, which was honestly the catalyst for this whole entire endeavor. My car was running fine. I had the grudge race with Boogeyman. The thing wasn't even turned up. We were on 10 PSI. It was doing phenomenal. And then this thing came out and it was a game changer. I'm like, I gotta have that. And then as soon as you buy that, it's like, well, if we're gonna do some stuff and retune it, and might as well turn it up. Well, snowball effect, but here we go. We are finally to the point where I can install the ECU. And speaking of which, we're gonna crack the box open. First thing I'm gonna do is figure out where the ECU itself is gonna live. I'll actually look at the instructions this time around. Typically, I'm one of those. I'm like you guys. I get something, open it up, and you just start caveman and stuff. You grab the round peg, find the square hole, and get the biggest hammer you can find. But in this instance, we're going to actually read some instructions and take our time, and hopefully just do it right, do it the first time, and let's see how we go. So let's crack this box open and get rolling. Alrighty, so here she is. We already did the unboxing of this bad boy, so I'm not really going to explain what all this stuff is. Kind of covered it for the most part. Oh. There she is, like Excalibur. Pull it out of the box. Bam. This is the part I don't do good at. I am not a reader at all. Like I said, I'm a caveman and I will smash things and set them on fire. Reading is not my strong suit. Neither is spelling for anybody. If you leave a comment and I comment back to you or try to write something back and I sound like a complete moron, you have to excuse me. Let's go find a spot in the car where we can basically mount it with the LEDs facing up. And this is a vent, from what I understand. So there's a vent, things plug in here, lights light up, it fires cylinders, we smile and do burnouts and hopefully beat the F-bomb. So that's really the goal of this whole thing. Let's do that. Alright, car time. Alright, so this is the part where we mount the awesome ECU. And I already have a big giant hole from my other computer and harness setup, and I have a tentative mounting location. Alright, so this is the original location of the computer, and then this is my big giant hole where I fed through my harness. And then essentially, look at how much smaller and itty bitty this little guy is. And he just sits right up in there. So let me take this thing out, and then we'll kind of look around and play with it. But okay, so I think we're tentatively just going to do it like that. It's a little bit lower than with my other ECU. I tried to kind of tuck it up, but this way I can see the lights if I look underneath. So if you're sitting up here, you know, you can barely see it hanging down there, and then the wires will just go straight into that hole. Gotta do freaking hood once again. Here we go. Me versus the hood. You talking to me? Talking to me. So we will open this up and then see, and it's basically a matter if the ECU connectors will fit through the hole this way, then I'm not going to feed an entire harness from inside the car outside the car. I'll just hopefully get down and put 3 connectors through and then leave the rest of the crap underneath the hood and call it a day. Okay, so we got to go inside out. Inside out, all night, all night. Okay, thought I could. I can't. Let's feed stuff. This is awesome. I think you want to yank on this thing, you just need to help it. There you go, my little friend. Last dudes to join the party. I think we should have done the wideband with some of the other guys in the beginning. So we gotta roll it. Alright, so I have to say that this thing is pretty user-friendly. There's enough slack that you can get the wires routed where they need to go, but it's not overwhelming to where you have this big coil snake of just excess wire that's unnecessary. Although, just like any other project, you know, every car is going to differ. Where they terminated the fuel pressure sensor, it doesn't quite reach where I would like to put my fuel pressure sensor, so Holley would never know that in a million years, so that's not a big deal. I'll probably have to extend that or figure that out. And then right now we're going to crawl under the car, and I'm actually just going to loosen the starter, drop it down, because the crank trigger or the crank sensor is basically behind the starter. Oh yeah, you're winning. All right, so what we can do now is we can grab this guy. Let's go throw this on. This is the injector harness I was telling you about. And this plugs into the gray plug here. And then that allows me to plug in all my injectors. So, all right, so we have majority of the harness in. I'm going to install the wideband, which is simple. You just screw this thing into the hole, and then it plugs in. So it looks like there's a jumper harness, I think, over here. Maybe this was it. Yeah, this is my little jumper. So that's what this thing was. So this jumps from the ECU to this guy's. Bam. Done and done. Okay, I wanted to share this with you guys. So I bought 2 of these, and they're 0 to 100 PSI pressure transducer sensors. And then these should plug in and work the same way that a standard pressure sensor would work. I got them on eBay a lot cheaper than the Holley ones, so sorry about that, Holley, but I don't have $100-something per thing. I want to say these are like 20 bucks a piece, and they got good reviews. Everybody seemed to say they work fine, so I guess we will see. All right, so we got that little guy situated. We'll plug our sensor in. So now we got oil. All right, so this is my fuel pressure sensor. So obviously it comes in, returns down there, but it should push against this and let me know what my pressure is. And then obviously I have a gauge here still, but now I'll have one, the computer will know what's going on. So now I have to figure out how to get this guy, which I can kind of go down and underneath, but there's not enough room. It goes to that big piece right there. So this is really kind of as long as that is. Okay, we're able to go through the box of shame and find wires that match, although I didn't have a black with a white stripe. I had this, I think it's brown, it was brown. So we'll just do that one. I got orange and I've got extra purple, so we'll do about 13 inches. So this thing should be hot. Solder all these, heat shrink them, and then I have some tubing that somewhat matches, so at least it won't look completely hokey. And then we'll extend it. We should be good. Let's get soldering. So there you go. So notice we don't have a plug for this. So I looked, it was like the section of stuff that people bought when they bought the kit, and Holley offers this. So this is actually that plug, and then it has the wire, although I don't know where this goes to. Obviously I know that I need it to have my alternator charge the battery. So I did buy that extra. That does not come with the Terminator. And then let's get on to the rest of the stuff in here. I think this is the power wire, the feed. So let's look at the instructions, see what they want me to do with this guy. Alright, so we got these ends on here. The heat shrink and everything they provide. Obviously got it pulled back a bit so it can make it to each side of the battery terminal end. And then we'll just bundle all this up and hide it in the fender for now. Then let me show you. Alright, we are back again with wiring on the Maliboom. It's been a couple days since I started it. And then I've done a little bit tinkered here and there, but I really haven't turned the camera on. So let me show you where we're at with it. It's actually really simple. It's really not that hard. Although I have to add a relay for the fuel pump, and then I have to add a relay because I have a fan controller right now, and I'll show you. It's a big brick and this blob of wires that comes out, and I hid it underneath the battery. But now that I've got plumbing and piping going underneath the battery tray because of the intercooler, things are getting a little crowded, and I think it's time to get rid of that big blob, and then I can control the fans with the ECU instead of with a separate fan controller, and it'll just clean up some of the wiring. So let's go take a look at where we're at and what we got left. So let's get cracking. All right, so here is that blob I'm telling you about. This thing is actually really killer. It used to live underneath, upside down, under the battery tray. But now that I have this pipe going through, obviously the quarters were getting tight and I had to move it. And then there's really no reason to have all this excess wiring. So I could just run one relay and have the fan come off and on through the ECU. So we will take this guy out of the equation here. I was doing a bit of work. I was actually out here late last night. This is the relay for the fuel pump, and this is a separate fuse for the fuel feed wire. So this will feed 12 volts from the computer to kick it off and on, and then this is a ground wire. The green is a fuel pump, so that'll go to this guy to kick that off and on. This is my tack signal, which blue to blue is my tack signal, so we'll just put a little connector on that so I can plug that in. And then we just got these guys. This is ground, and this is keyed 12 volts, which will just go up and over to my fuse block over there. So when I actually got this car, it had a small block, tired ass 350 in it, and it was manual fan and all that. So I put this in here to cool it. And then when I did that, there's a bunch of other wiring and stuff I did up on the front for alternator, and there's all kinds of butchered stuff underneath here. Then obviously I just did this to kind of get the thing going. And that's kind of the problem with cars like this, is a lot of the time you're like, oh, I'll just do this and then I'll come back later and fix it and make it nice, and then you end up not doing any of that, and then you just get stuck running this. But it worked. It's just this big blob of ugly wires. I never cleaned it up, and it hasn't let me down this whole time. So now is the time to actually fix it. Well, I will tell you what, I have done a lot more than I thought I was going to do, but basically rewired the alternator feed, the main power on the body, everything that was up front over here. I got rid of this fan controller, so I no longer need that, and I put a relay in. So let me show you what we got here. So now I have a relay for my fan that I have to feed, and then I have a relay for the fuel pump. So now we can get to running wires from the PCM. I think I'm gonna go ahead and stick my 4-port boost controller in here too and run all the wires back so we can get to wiring everything in the car at the same time. So check this out. So these are all my new wires coming off here. This is the relay for the fan. This is the wire that the PCM is going to send a signal to turn it off and on. And then that's basically where all that stuff's going to live. And then obviously we got a negative and a positive. I got my big negative terminal here. And I wish I could clean this up a little bit better, but I think if I tape it all up, it won't look terrible. So we'll just do that. I'm not that concerned. Majority of the day has gone by, and I have struggled and cursed and got this thing looking pretty decent. That leads me to my next point, which is I got a manifold, which is probably not the best idea considering my cold side is done, my fuel lines are done, and I had to go and scroll that up and buy another cool manifold. So let's go take a look at the wiring on the inside and how it kind of shaped up, and what we did with the double Dutch jump rope I had going. Alright, so here's the look. Obviously all my junk is down here, so don't really check that out, but I'm also going to find a way to secure, you know, this is the big lead, and then this is the big lead, and this is my extras that are coming out here that obviously will secure. But I need to make sure this thing runs before we really button everything up. But you can see the only thing I have left is a boost solenoid that I have not hooked up yet, which will go into the extra sub harness, which is up underneath. Bam! All right, well, here she is. This is the Holley split single plane manifold and elbow. And then this thing, the cool thing is this can go any way you want. So it can run sideways, forward, backward, whichever way you want. Then it's cathedral port, just like my heads. And it's for EFI. We got the Dash 8 rails. It is used, and it is sexy as all get out. And this needs to make it on there. So, just add one more thing. Let's add more fuel to the fire. The car's still on jack stands. I'm definitely running out of time. I need to put the camera down and get cracking even harder because we got to get this thing rolling. I still got to dyno tune it, and then we're going to try to drive it all the way to Vegas. And then, if we can do that, we got a grudge race that we got to win.
Have you Phil.
Are you listening? Damn.
All right, so here we are. The moment of truth. I have fluids in there. I didn't check the oil, but I'm pretty sure it's still in there from last time. I put water in. I went over all the connections. I think everything is hooked up. The only thing I have left to hook up is a boost controller, but I'm waiting on a sensor, which I don't need that to run. I got my new manifold in, all kinds of goodies, and this thing should be ready to rock and roll. So we're going to turn this thing on, and then we're going to try to fire it up. I'm running low on E85, and it's been sitting in there for a while, but we're not trying for performance. We're just trying to get it to run and see if it actually talks to it and does what it's supposed to do. So keep your fingers crossed. I'm actually a little nervous, I'm not going to lie. So I answered all the questions. It's doing its little deal. Look at that. Just ran the fuel pump. Let's do it again. I guess that's it. I guess we try to start it. Fingers crossed, let's see. Hey, that was pretty easy. Gave it a little hiccup for 2 seconds, so make sure we're not leaking crap everywhere. That was pretty sweet. Got a little fuel leak, we'll address that. We'll fire it up again. I'll walk around and keep looking. I just want to let it warm up and cycle the fans and all that fun stuff. So we'll have to see what everything's set at. But she runs, baby. That is like 10 tenths, 8, 9 tenths of the battle. But let's fix that leak. I want to fire this thing back up. It even works my tack. Look at that. So bad. Alright. Here we go, there's the vitals. It says fan 1 off. So I don't know what it kicks on at. Let me see if I can find that. Bam, check that out. On. I don't even know what temperature. I couldn't find what temperature it turns on, but we're at 196. And it kicked that biatch on. That is it. We got this thing running with all the stuff that I did to it. And if you noticed, we got an intake. It's a different fuel rail setup. Way too much crap. And then now it sticks out of the hood like Mad Max. So we're gonna have to cut the hood and then get the rest of the stuff buttoned up, put together. I'll actually download the software because I have a laptop. So I'll have more control over the features when the coolant temperature sensor kicks everything, kicks a fan on and all that fun stuff. We'll go through all those different settings, but all in all, everything looks like it functions awesomely. And then that was killer, man. I mean, talk about simple, other than I had one little fuel leak that I had. We'll just monitor that and make sure that doesn't happen, but pretty much out of fuel anyway. But it got up to temperature, fans kicked on. I don't know, we're gonna have to see. We'll take this thing for a test drive once we get it all buttoned up, figured out, but no leaks underneath the car. So we are pretty dang close. I am very excited, and I think that we're gonna make it to Holley LS Fest. Hopefully we're gonna drive this bitch all the way there, because last year I failed, but this year, this is my year of redemption. So after we beat the F-Bomb, we'll find some other people that hopefully we can call out. Although the F-Bomb has been making some progress. He put some bigger tires and a bunch of other stuff, so he's been scrambling. So I think his car's going to be a lot faster than it was in the Hoopty Challenge. So I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to have a little fun. But I will tell you what, it feels wonderful for this thing to actually not give me a giant headache of problems and not starting. And it had a little hiccup for like 2 seconds, fired up. The thing idled beautifully. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's a lot quieter too, because I don't know if it's ignition timing or what, but this thing was rowdy as all get out. But maybe it's a different heads, who knows, but it's really docile at this point. So hopefully it gets rowdy when that turbo spools up. That is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions on the setup or the system, I know I didn't cover it verbatim. It wasn't an install video. Just kind of showed you guys that I plugged along, got this thing put in, and it works flawlessly, at least on jack stands in my driveway, idling with the setup wizard and all the stuff that they offer. It was amazing. That's it. I hope you guys enjoy this. Like it, share it with your friends, subscribe. Watch me drive this turd all the way to Vegas, hopefully, and at least have a good time. If I'd like to win some races, but ultimately I'd like to make some new friends, see some old ones, and have some fun. So stick around, keep it locked. I'm out.